If you don't take anything else from this video, clean your camera, please. Hey everybody, I'm Kyle Hill. I just started this YouTube channel to talk about photography and things surrounding that. A little bit about what I know and love. I don't claim to know everything, but I love it, so I figured I'd talk about it. So today's video is 5 tips to take better photos with a phone. I'm gonna be talking about specifically iPhone because that's what I've been using for years now, and it's the best, so if you don't like that, get out of here. These tips do work for Androids too, because it's just about taking photos with your phone. Tip number 1, clean your camera. This is probably my biggest pet peeve when it comes to any photos ever on the planet. And I can tell too, if I see a photo where there's a dirty camera, right babe?
Oh yeah.
I immediately know it. I think anybody would know it because it makes you look like a disgusting human being. If your camera's dirty and you take a photo, first of all, you should be able to tell. It's not like you just have a bad phone. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox a little bit here. Cassie's behind the camera going, if you like Friends, you know what that is. I'll put up a few examples of what photos look like if you don't clean your camera. Lots of times if there's like a light in the photo, it'll make the whole picture look hazy. It just makes everything look a little more blurry and hazy and greasy because it's usually grease. The best way that I have found to clean my camera is just use your shirt. It only works with cotton. If it's more of a plasticky blend, it's just gonna smear it. If you're not wearing cotton, find something that's cotton, or a lens cloth works perfectly. Again, here's an example of what it looks like if you don't clean your camera and if you do. Number 2 is natural light. These days, phones have fantastic cameras, but they can only do so much if you're in bad lighting. So if you're indoors, find a window that's sunlight, natural light, and it'll look 10 times better. If you're outside and there's sunlight, so that's natural light. Just be careful at noon because there's harsh light from the sun. I'll have a later video about lighting, times to go out, and some tips on shooting at noon. Number 3 is angles. Low is when the camera is low and looking up. Center is when the camera is at eye level. High is when the camera is high looking down. So a low angle gives the subject authority. This can be good and bad. I'll show a good example of like an artistic way that it can be a good thing. Low angles can definitely be a bad thing. I know a lot of people worry about a low angle because of double chin. It can be used for good, but usually people don't like it. Center angle, you're pretty much good. It's eye line. It makes you feel relatable because people are on the same eye line as you. A preferred angle for most things, if you're taking a picture of a person or of yourself, is a center high angle because it avoids the things you don't want to see, like a double chin, and it's more relatable. It's on the eye level. The third is high angles, where the camera's high, looking down on you. That makes you seem vulnerable. The camera angles represent life. So like a kid, you look down and he's smaller and he's vulnerable. A tall guy, you look up and he's intimidating. So that's kind of what you want to think of to remember your angles. A lot of people like high angles because it avoids certain imperfections, but it can also look weird when you go too high. Number 4, use the grid. I said this when I was going through my notes to Cassie, and she's like, what are you talking about? What's the grid? Cassie's my wife, by the way. Yeah, that's her hand. The grid. I'll just run through really quick how to turn it on. In your iPhone, you go to settings, then you go to your camera, and in the second section, you'll see it says grid. Just switch that on. When you go to your camera, you'll see a grid there. That just helps you line up your photos better. If you want to center it, put somebody off to the side. It just really helps with the composition and getting the right look for your photo. If you don't know what composition is, it's just how you line up the subject in your frame. Number 5, edit your photos. I know this is a big task to ask of you because not everybody knows how to edit photos, but learn it. It's worth it. Lightroom, Lightroom. Lightroom. It's free. Edit your photos. because that's a huge part of making a great photo. You can take a pretty average photo, edit it, and make it look incredible if you do it right. Later on, I'll talk about editing photos, some Lightroom tips. I highly recommend not using filters. If you find somebody who has a Lightroom preset, you can use that. If you don't know what those are, I'll talk about those more in the future. Editing your own photos is 100% better than trying to use like an Instagram filter. Lots of times those will make your pictures look worse than the iPhone did originally. So let's review. 1, clean your camera. If you don't take anything else from this video, clean your camera, please. 2, natural light, sunlight. Get a window or go outside. 3, angles. Try to do a center or a center high angle. Avoid low angles unless you know what you're doing. 4, use the grid for composition. 5, edit your photos. Which reminds me, my next video will be about how to do that. I'll be going into how to edit any photo simply in Lightroom. So look out for that video. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully I can help. But for now, we'll see you in the next video, and get out of my face. Metal straws, save the turtles.
Boy, Kyle.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I didn't think that I'd have to think through what I'd say at the beginning. Hey, everybody.
You look like a serial killer.
Action.
And last but not least,
Metal straws, save the turtles.